Hey guys, so in the previous video, we worked on this beautiful stained glass illustration together and applied all the main colors to the artwork and the ornament around the girl. And if you haven't seen that first tutorial yet, you can find it through the little card above. But today I thought it would be really fun to take this artwork a little bit further. So we'll add more depth, more decorative details, and a few final accents to make the whole illustration feel brighter, richer, and much more complete. Okay, so today I thought we could use two different contour liners from Pentart. The first one is Antique Copper, and this shade is a little bit closer to gold. And the second one is just regular copper, which has more of this warm, reddish, metallic tone to it. So, before we start working on the illustration itself, let's quickly test both liners on paper first and see what these colors actually look like side by side. Okay, so let's start with the regular copper shade first. As you can see, with this liner, you can create lines of completely different thickness depending on the pressure and the way you apply it. And the same thing goes for the dots. You can make them smaller, bigger, more flat, more dimensional. And antique copper behaves pretty much the same way as well. So I think today we'll try to make these blue circles a little more interesting and decorative by combining both of these metallic shades together. Okay, so I should probably admit something before we continue. Usually when I add dot painting details to my artworks, I actually use completely different paints for that. Most of the time, I work with thicker ceramic paints because they also reflect light really beautifully once they dry. But this time, I decided to try something a little different. So today, we're going to use acrylic contour liners instead, which basically means metallic acrylic paint in this kind of tube format. And I have absolutely no idea how this is going to behave on this artwork. But we'll try it anyway, because at the end of the day, art doesn't really have to be perfectly clean and predictable all the time. It's still handmade work, and sometimes you just experiment with whatever materials you have around you and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, this liner is absolutely amazing when it comes to making dots. But when I started trying to make actual decorative patterns and ornaments with it, I ran into a few problems. At first, I tried using a toothpick, but honestly, it didn't help me that much. So very quickly, I went back to my favorite tools. These are just regular wooden kitchen skewers for grilling. And in the end, I decided to cover half of my palette and squeeze some of the paint directly out of the tube first so I could pick it up with the wooden skewer instead. Okay, so at some point during filming, I realized that maybe tutorials are not exactly the best place for experimenting with techniques I've literally never tried before. I probably should have tested this first with a super thin brush before filming all of this. And to make things even more complicated, I could barely see the artwork properly today because the light was hitting the glass in such a dramatic way. Seriously, let me show you what this entire filming setup actually looks like right now. A little behind the scenes moment for you guys. Okay, so somehow we still managed to apply the golden paint onto the decorative headpiece around our girl. Considering all the experimenting happening today, I think that already counts as a success. But I think it would actually be a good idea to let this layer dry a little bit first before we continue. Okay, so it looks like the paint has dried a little bit now. So let's take the copper shade and try to make the halo around the girl's head a little more decorative with this color. I'm thinking we'll just add a few small details here and there. This doesn't really feel like traditional dot painting yet. It's more like decorative ornamental elements for now. But I'm pretty sure we'll still find a place for some actual dots in this artwork too. Okay, friends, I think it's finally time for us to relax a little and just start adding dots. And right now, I just want to enjoy the process a bit and add these dots almost intuitively. So the artwork starts sparkling a little more. And all these decorative elements around our heroine become brighter, clearer, and more noticeable. Okay, friends. So I'm really happy that you spent this time with me today. It was honestly very fun for me to try something new together with you, even if the process turned out a little chaotic at times. And I think that's what art is really about sometimes: experimenting, enjoying the process, learning through mistakes, and still getting that little dose of happiness and excitement from creating something with your own hands. And I really hope this artwork inspired you to create something beautiful of your own too. Thank you so much for being here with me, and hopefully I'll see you again very soon.